All right, folks, hang tight. Seems to be a little bit of a problem here with the technology, which I guess shouldn't surprise me. All right, it does seem like we're having a little trouble getting this going into Facebook. So I'm just going to focus on YouTube. All right, welcome everyone. Have you wondered whether or not you could use enrichment to build your fearful dog's confidence? This is our topic for today. If you don't know me, my name is Kelly. I own Dogkind, and I specialize in building confidence for very fearful, semi-feral, or shutdown dogs. Now, can we use enrichment to build our dog's confidence? I would say yes. But first we have to decide, what do we mean by confidence? Let's define that. One moment. All right, so what is confidence? Behaviorally, I would say that confidence is an effect of a history of success. Now, what does that mean when it comes to our dogs? I mean that our dogs use their behavior to get good things, and that happens over and over again. They have a low rate of failure, and they're successful in many contexts. So in other words, our dogs learn that their behaviors contact positive reinforcement in lots of different situations. So, confidence is an effect of repeated success, and that is the definition that we are working with today. Now, how does that interface with enrichment? Well, let's pop back over to our slides. Now, enrichment involves behavior. That's why we can use enrichment to build confidence. Of course, anytime your dog interacts with, say, a food toy or a game or plays, there are a lot of behaviors happening. And if we are doing enrichment right, those behaviors are being positively reinforced. Your dog is winning the game over and over again. So, good enrichment, enrichment done well, enrichment done with an eye to confidence building is something that creates a learning history of success. So they're winning every step of the way. Now, how do we sort of make this happen practically? What does a confidence building enrichment program look like? Well, the first step is just finding something that your dog finds enriching, that they enjoy doing, and that they will do. And this actually can be pretty challenging for a very shut down or fearful dog. If you are having trouble identifying something your dog really likes, head over to dogkindtraining.com/fun. There is a free guide there, PDF guide plus video demo of a very simple enrichment game. I give step-by-step instructions for where to start and how to carefully increase difficulty that most of my fearful dog students have a good time with and are able to succeed with. Now, what does that look like in practice? So our first step, remember, find something your dog will do. Here's little Pancake a while ago now, early on, and I'd put out some obstacles and put treats in them and just wanted to see what would he interact with. And one of his first enrichment activities was just sticking his head in this box and fishing treats out of it. So, find something that simple or simpler that your dog will do and enjoy. Once you have something your dog will do, work on generalizing it slowly, gradually. You have to be careful with this, but teach your dog that, hey, those behaviors that you use to win the game, those work lots of places. And let's take a look at Pancake again, having some more success in different places. This is him doing that same skill or same group of skills, approaching a box, sticking his nose into it, and eating treats out of it. Now, this is not today a step-by-step lesson on how to actually implement a confidence building enrichment plan, because this kind of jump in difficulty from eating out of a box in his safe space to this video is actually in a completely different house. That's pretty impossible for most sensitive dogs to do in one step. And in fact, this took several steps to get Pancake to this spot. But I just want to point out what I mean by starting to generalize to different contexts. Once your dog can do some simple enrichment game and seems to enjoy it and can do it in different contexts, think about how you can add variety to the game in a way that will elicit additional behaviors. And let's take a look again at Pancake's example here. Adding variety. In order to get more behaviors, I've added a variety of objects and sort of the setup of the objects in this in this enrichment game. So you see he was still sticking his head in a box, but it looked pretty different. Here he's shredding paper, he's pulling stuff out of the box to get the treats. So you're seeing several additional behaviors because I added variety to the enrichment game. And finally, we won't talk about this a lot today. This is a little bit more advanced, but we will in coming weeks. If you know that there are particular behaviors you'd really like your dog to be able to do that are necessary or at least would be helpful in what are currently challenging situations for your dog, you can think about what kind of enrichment games would elicit and reinforce those behaviors. But I do want to mention that a lot of behaviors that are in enrichment games that might seem kind of frivolous or not that useful are actually surprisingly useful. So the video you just saw of Pancake where he is sticking his head into a Raisin Bran box, shredding paper, digging stuff out of a box, those behaviors actually have a really nice practical application now that he has generalized them to different scenarios. When we have, like, my in-laws are visiting and we have little kids running around, and he can be behind a baby gate for safety, but he can be there working on his games, doing those behaviors, and it is a way of what you might call building his confidence in the situation where there's strangers in his house. So that's my pitch for even games that seem maybe a little silly, like not that practical. They can still be really practical. Okay. This is my quick reminder. I am teaching my beginning sniffing games class for fearful dogs in a few weeks. And this is still a class in development. I'm still working on how to make sure that you all get exactly what you need from the class. So I have a limited number of spots I am offering at 50% discount just for the rest of this week in exchange for your feedback, your suggestions about what you like about the class, what you'd like to see included, what you could do without. And so if you're interested in working with me on that, I will put the link to enroll and grab one of those special spots below wherever you're watching this video. I'd love to see some of you there. Those are only available, though, until Friday, and there are only 10 total, and some of those are already full. So do grab them now if you do want one of those spots. Okay. And just one more time to make sure you have this link. If you are looking to just get your dog started with enrichment, dogkindtraining.com/fun will get you to your free guide, your Fearful Dog's first enrichment game, and there's also a video tutorial that goes along with that. So head over to grab that, and then join me next week as we dig more into the details of how to design enrichment to build your dog's confidence.